actually that smooth for these guys. They had a lot of ups and downs, started up, went down, hopefully coming back up again. But we've also seen a lot of best of fives before. While the first game is important, you got a lot more to play. Just like he says, the regular season isn't as important as the playoffs. The first game isn't as important as the next 4.
So we see a swap. That Sivir goes in for Gangplank on the side of Cloud9 for their bans. And it was Shen, Talia, and what was the last man?
It was Cassiopeia.
Cassiopeia, that is
Shen,
correct.
Talia, Cassiopeia, Vladimir Karma, Gangplank previously.
The TK ban shows that they were a little annoyed with Smoothie in the last game. Specifically, I feel like with that Abyssal Voyage and how quickly he was able to create picks. And wow, an Ashe pick because of the Sivir ban, trying to lock that down for a strong duo.
But it's also been so successful for Sneaky on this team. I mean, he's also a Jhin player, though, so it's a little bit questionable, but they just don't want Laud to pick it up, and they just get other priority picks.
Gangplank and Gragas, no hesitation from Envy as they lock those 2 in, which now gives a little bit more global presence from Seraph and puts Proxen just right in the role of Gragas again.
Yeah, and we've also seen that Envy takes a lot of inspiration from the LCK teams. Gangplank's been nearly permabanned or early picked in the playoffs over there in Korea. So Seraph, no hesitation on the Gangplank pick for good reason. Not the strongest laning phase, but a tremendous late game. That's the script that they followed in the first matchup, actually, as far as the way the gold was going. Not necessarily with their champion select, but they want to be prepared in the late game, and Gangplank helps that.
Gangplank.
Yeah.
From the way the game 1 went, this series, it could set the precedent to be another 45-minute game, another grudge match, back and forth that tests mental and physical prowess of these guys. And Cloud9 is a team that has been in those reverse sweeps a lot, so this may fall in their favor. These games could be very, very tough.
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of mental fortitude, and you're playing BO3s throughout the season, though, and that's what people were talking about, is it might prepare them for best of fives and playoffs. So these teams have been through many games leading up to this point and getting their seed here. But I definitely like that Gnar pick for Impact, changing back to the champion select here into the Gangplank. You can shut down those barrels early. But once again, it's Impact on a champion in the top lane that's not really meant to carry, so the resources are going to be elsewhere, and he's really been that sacrifice lane on this team.
It's crazy that they can almost run the same composition here, maybe even with a Bard now, right? You lock in almost the same thing here for Cloud9, so they got to feel good coming into this game, even though it didn't quite work from game 1.
Yeah, and you can tell Envy is pretty hesitant on whether they want to pick a mid laner or their AD right here. They got to be careful, because if they pick Jhin, I think what Laud is saying is, hey man, we don't know what their support is or what their mid laner is, because they can pick a Bard against it and just throw the Tempered Fate every time he opens up the ultimate. There's the low mobility on Jhin can be punished by certain picks. Be interesting to see what Cloud9 does here, knowing they also have to pick a blind mid laner.
I actually think they go with both of them. The Syndra, once again, blind for Jensen here, and then the Smoothie Thresh. Gonna try to get some people out of position here, and it'll serve a little bit of the same purpose as the Tahm Kench, getting somebody out with the Lantern. It is a bit of a playmaker for him, though. A little bit more initiation power.
Yeah, and it really just signals to me that Cloud9 is ready to stay the course, and they feel like that first game was completely winnable. The only change in their overall team composition now is going to be a Thresh instead of a Tahm Kench, and that's because the Tahm Kench was banned away.
Yeah.
So they don't really care what Envy throws up against them. They blocked the Sivir. They said that was the problem as far as aiding the extra things to initiate on them. And Cloud9's going to be confident that they can take this strong regular season, shrug off the first game loss, and make it through the series.
I almost think there's more catch potential for this C9 team. You
Makes
just
sense.
don't have the movement. Lissandra gets locked in, as we thought, on the side of Envy, so a few things gone back to for teams here for comfort, but we did switch a few things up as well.
Yeah, Lissandra has been Seraph and Ninja's one of their most played champions. Both of them, they're both very adept at this champion. And that's why it's been banned against Envy almost as much as Vladimir has, because it's just so powerful in either person's hands as a flex pick, and also the pick potential that they have for starting fights. Envy, when they have tools to start fights, they will take those fights, and that's how they won a lot of their games.
Even trying to bait Jensen in to say, hey, that cast is open too. Maybe you want to play that. He says, no, I like the range. We'll keep getting picks with that. It just continues to provide that mid-game advantage. It's in the late game where Envy was able to do some 6-item damage over on the side of Cloud9. We'll have to see how it starts heading into game 2. The compositions are locked in here in Envy, the underdog with a 1-game lead here in the best of 5. We can pretty much expect this to go at least 5, or at least, I'm sorry, 4 now, because you know Cloud9's going to come back.
You're giving away the script. You said 5 earlier. You said 5. Come on.
After the first game, definitely go 5. No question.
So we'll have to see what they do. Get over to Twitter once again. Provide your votes. Hashtag C9win. Hashtag EnVyWin. C9 still on blue. Envy going to take the fight from red once again. We're about to be on to the Rift. We'll see if Cloud9 can live up to the playoff prowess that they've always brought to the table. These are the reverse sweep kings, so one more game and they could be in final form if Envy wins.
Yeah, and they mentioned as well that Cloud9, every year they've been in the LCS, they've also been in Worlds. Last year was definitely the most trying. They didn't even make it to the Summer Split playoffs and then made a run through the regional qualifier. This year, wouldn't they love to be able to move through the playoffs? Because if they win this match, they would actually guarantee they're up against Immortals, and then they'd have to play the final. So like, it's a long journey for them. They need to make sure they're not looking too far in the future and overlooking Envy, who Jensen even said he was expecting to be fairly easy.
Yeah, I definitely think that this is one that, there are a lot of things will end up getting changed if Envy do pull it out. Cloud9, they have very little in terms of championship points from the spring. And so I believe they're only sitting on 10. So they'd have to fight their way all the way through the regional qualifier. They wouldn't be able to actually go up against an easier seed. And Envy would have to take on TSM.
Yeah.
And that's something that you definitely do not want to do, because people like you think about the dynamic seeding that happens in playoffs, right? If Cloud9 wins, well, they play Immortals, and then the winner of 4 or 5 plays TSM. So now, if Envy win, winner of 4 or 5 has to play Immortals.
The Noriega hanging out in the crowd. Got some P1 love. I saw some other players as well. Coaches here to cheer on and give some camaraderie to other players in the league, as well as friends. But Cloud9 and Envy for the moment, enemies on to the Rift. And we'll have to see who pulls out the victory on this one. Envy working with the momentum from game 1. We'll see if Cloud9 can stifle that out.
And Ninja did this last game too, where he starts Sweeper. He didn't even use it last time. It went back right before the game had the minion spawn and swapped it out for just a regular warding trinket. So hasn't used it before. Interested to see if Envy ever really change it up and go for an invader, actually sweep something out.
I wondered about that last game myself. I was watching him, then he just kind of goes back. He's like, yep, I'll just bring it back to my trinket. Thank you very much. It seems like they are setting up to maybe move forward here. Oh.
Bullseye.
Cash money.
Yeah, that'll make the jungle start from Meteos a little bit scarier.
Impact wants to put one down in there, but nope.
Yeah, then he wouldn't have it for the early lane wards.
Ninja will back and swap his trinket out.
Boop, boop. You can't obviously place a ward, so it's still net the same number of wards on the map, but he's got that CS advantage over Jensen now. 1-0.
Wards give experience as well, since a couple patches ago, right?
Yep.
Oh, sitting on a very bit.
That level 6 attack.
Very little.
It's like the size of the finger.
Well, Proxy's got some too.
Green with.
Very tiny bit.
Sharing is caring. We'll see how this gangplank plays out for Seraph in the top lane. He obviously is going to help hard start Proxyn as he roams around the jungle. And same thing with Impact in the top lane. It seems like for some of maybe the newer teams, as well as teams that lack a lot of communication across the board, the fact that you start off in standard lanes is something that's going to help.
Yeah. It hopefully creates more of a standard feeling for these guys.
Yeah.
They know what type of game they're going to see, but at the same time, you can have modified jungle routes. Junglers can do different things each game. Like, for instance, Meteos last game did Gromp to Wolves to Scuttle Crab. Here he's making a stop at the red buff, which actually increases the probability of him doing an early level 3 game.
Smites it for the HP at the end, I believe. No, gets it. And now he can go straight for a game.
He burrows, and he can go straight to the Scuttle Crab, apparently.
Say, probably. Everybody's pushing up a little bit. You got volleys from Sneaky in the bot side.
On the other hand, though, Proxyn is going for the blue, and especially since he sees Meteos, this is going to be Proxyn picking up that blue.
Yeah, this was actually really close to Jensen being able to get this done on Ninja before he jumps away, and it's a smart counter jungle by Proxyn. Seeing Meteos doesn't have blue buff, he was preparing for this already. Easy pickup.
No perma blue for Jensen this game. Maybe that's going to be Ninja's this time. We'll see how much that sways the matchup in mid. Also allows a little bit more roam once it comes to it. We saw this, so rinse and repeat here. Impact getting ganked once again. You see Seraph has to deal with quite a wave and didn't exactly want to get off on that. Body slam is there, but he doesn't have it for the turret. That could be a throw back.
That's definitely worth, though. Getting the flash out of Impact.
Yeah, and great discipline. The Proxy didn't burn his flash either, because that's what's expected, that he's going to be able to go for that kill. All the way under the turret.
Really pushing the boundaries on that one. I thought he was going down with a boomerang over the shoulder from Impact.
And another turret shot, yeah.
Right, another turret shot would have ramped up on him. So this is them, C9 saying, oh, yeah, we know what you did. We saw where your roam was and that you came out of top lane at this time. So Proxen took the blue. They give that back over to Jensen. So he actually fares pretty well in that instance.
Wow. Hunter's Potion actually for Proxen. I'm a little surprised by that on the Gragas. Gragas is usually really okay clearing out the jungle, especially since he gets first item Runic Echoes.
Yeah. Maybe he goes Cinderhulk this game if they have enough damage. It is a choice that some people still go for if he's just trying to soak damage, or it was just a gold thing. Sometimes you have a small amount of gold, may as well just upgrade. At the very least, it's going to make him a little bit less vulnerable to counter jungling because he will almost always be at full health and mana.
Nice heavy warding from Seraph in the top lane. He may try to activate something on Impact before that flash is up, or even a level 6. Nars out of the bad situation.
Missed a couple CS at the turret, and it's actually really key that the gank arrived early to give Seraph some breathing room in that lane. But here's a gank.
Oh, the flash in. The claw is not respected, as it shouldn't have been that time. And before 5, pre-6, they take down Ninja.
Yeah, and last game they were unable to really punish the fact that Syndra has such amazing gank support. But here, Meteos makes 2 trips. Even though Ninja had his flash, you can just see the CC chain, and that's pre-6 on Syndra as well. So that's not even the maximum damage burst. CC alone is enough to get the kill.
Yeah, and with the changes in 6.15, junglers have all these different routes that give them great timings into mid lane, and I feel as though this Syndra is trying to abuse that. They're trying to actually have these early ganks come through and shut down Ninja, who has honestly been one of the weaker points of Envy when you look at statistics. I mean, he gave up a lot of early kills last game. He's one of the members that gets the least amount of gold on the team. And so if you can shut him down and get Jensen ahead, who takes a large amount of Cloud9's gold, and you just create this gigantic delta, and that lane is honestly, when people are like, it's over, that lane would be over at that point.
Quite a big wave mounting here for Sneaky. He's trying to thin it out before he gets to the turret. It's not going to help. Grenade and Blossoms push that up a little harder. But Envy leads for this one. They want more vision here in the bot lane. So another slow start to the game with that first kill on Ninja in mid, which really was a kill on Jensen last game for Envy. So just a little bit of a flop there. 54-48, so Sneaky starting to pick up in the AD carry lane, as well as Jensen in the mid after that hit. So they kind of tried to play it last game with arrows just onto Ninja, push him out of lane, and they can do that once again with that teleport down.
Yeah. Seraph gonna fight Impact in the top side.
That's not wise.
Standing that all, you're just gonna gnaw her out, so and he is gonna use the damage to make it happen. Does he leave in turret range? No, he holds it. Like a little bit of hesitation, and he's happy with just the lane advantage as well.
Very lucky that he had the early gank so that Impact doesn't have flash, because Impact
probably would have followed that.
Probably would have gotten a kill there. So Proxen definitely gave that edge to Seraph, so he gets out safe.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, a Smoothie in range.
They didn't ping it.
He did not. There's going to be a Dark Passage Lantern for him anyways. They have a good minion wave to stand behind.
I also think it was very greedy up top of Impact to go for that, but now, here's Proxen.
Oh, level 6.
Nice flash away from the Deadly Flourish. Can Smoothie get out of this? The exhaust keeps him in range, and it will be the kill. Auto over to Proxen. So they do get something out of waiting here in the bot lane. Jensen's pressuring his luck here in mid. He seems to be getting away with it.
It's really good from Proxen on that timing, because we had seen the bottom lane earlier where Smoothie was pulling a cannon minion wave up towards his Cry Brush, and then the Meteos came by and actually swept that bush. So that means that Cloud9 were trying to freeze it for a bit, and when you freeze, it will eventually push back harder in the opposite direction, and we saw Envy stall for that moment, and Proxen was able to come into that bottom side. That's why they have all those caster minions there.
Sneaky and Smoothie both wanted the recall. Proxen wards in as well as jumps. Then he actually flashes to make sure the Braum passive can get the stun, since Smoothie was already down summer spells, and nice kill.
A little pressure relief now for Envy. See how they use this in the early game. weren't able to push up to the turret, didn't have the minion wave in their favor. So Lot's gonna have to do a bit more work with this kill to make something happen. EnVyUs can keep a track of where Proxen is here. Things may be able to happen for C9.
It's actually a huge roam up in the top lane. 3, potentially 4 people. If they don't even get a kill, they could get the turret.
Yeah, Smoothie's on his way as well.
EnVyUs, what a beat. Now with the team, unleashed power from Jensen is going to drop Seraph. He's just been all alone by himself in the top lane, and now he starts getting harassed for no reason. He's wondering what's going on, and C9 just starts to take control.
Kill the Gangplank. He's going to be killable for the early game before he becomes a monster. You don't actually get to stop Gangplank from becoming a monster, but maybe you can end the game before that happens if you kill him a bunch. And that's what C9's going for.
No way to defuse the bomb, but you can slow it down.
Yep.
Slow it down.
It's also an interesting strategy. Hold on, Ninja.
A little ahead of himself. There'll be some extra damage here for Steve.
Ooh, alley-oop.
Wow. Flashes over the wall. Sneaky going hard on this one. He's going to have to dance it out with Proxen now. He leads Impact into the fight. A few more hits. Sneaky stands on the barrel knowing it's just going to allow him to stay in range and attack. He doesn't have to move. Understood the fight. Took the kill. 2 for 1 overall.
Yeah, really weird series of events. But Sneaky being in the mid lane ends up just netting him a nice double kill, which he can just take right back to the bottom lane. Doesn't have time to shop yet. But when he does, that means he hits his item power spikes a little bit before the other side.
It's like a bit of turret pressure from Seraph up here. Should be able to clear to the turret. We'll see this fight one more time.
Ninja wanted the tunnel.
You can see the Gangplank ultimate down below. He had actually used it on the top side of the map instead of actually in this fight here. So he's trying to clear out a minion wave. The teleport comes in through Impact because he has nothing left to do in top side to shove a turret, and it helps reinforce his team here. So the Cannon Barrage may have been able to actually salvage a bit of this fight, but Seraph was just trying to keep that turret from going down, and they end up getting first turret gold for that.
Still pretty even across the board. Shows you how far Cloud9 was ahead once Envy was able to grab that. So Sneaky to clear this out now. He'll probably start taking that side wave priority that he usually does now as an AD carry this season and start firing arrows from the Fog of War.
Yeah, they got to be a little bit careful they don't starve him out accidentally like they did last game when they decide to group mid. Like, it's so easy for Cinder to kill all 6 minions before anyone else can even auto-attack them that you can sometimes do it accidentally, but with the 2 kills early, you do want Sneaky to be able to multiply his damage and really become a late game carry.
This is exactly what you were talking about, Riv. Arrow down mid. Will it happen? Jensen's on a pink ward, and boom, boom.
There it is. The Fog of War attack. It is a dangerous thing to be had, and Ninja realizes this once again.
Boom, boom!
I mean, this is the cost Ninja's playing. He's not playing Cleanse against an Ashe and a Syndra.
Oh, man.
They're going to try and stop this.
So this is kind of like one of those replicas of the Ashe. Curtain Call almost does the same thing, but it's only if you have enough time to catch up with it with your team, and nobody's there to catch up with it this time.
Yeah.
Jensen and the rest of the team able to walk out, even though a few of them blocked up with that Curtain Call.
It was a really good lantern there from Smoothie. Avoided the explosive cast and stopped Sneaky from being knocked into the team. Not much more is going to happen, though. Top lane, turret did go down.
I will say C9 coming into game 2 here with only one small tweak to their team composition, Thresh in for Tom Kench. That's not even having a huge impact, but the way they are playing is much more focused. They have targeted Ninja. They said, why are we letting this guy get away with playing no cleanse?
Flash dash almost gets the kill. It just says nope.
But somehow they're also taking Drake. C9 recalled a bunch of people at the same time, so Ocean's going to go over to Envy.
Let's help them stay on the map a little bit longer, as long as they're not fighting Cloud9 at this point. You're right about Cloud9 being faster. We saw 2 of those, you could say, air quotes, waffle moments last game in mid when they got caught out. Speaking of caught out, there goes the minion wave. And there goes a little bit of a phage proc. Wait, the slow, hyper, the connect.
Oh, he's going to turn Mega.
Oh, this is going to hurt. Is the jump there, the wall up first, going to get oranged. It's okay with the flash after. But EnVyUs may go for that diagonal cut. He does not. He just chooses to deny.
But they could be making a play mid.
They can make a play everywhere. Every time we switch the screen here now in this, I was going to say mid-game, but it's only 13 minutes in. Cloud9 is being so much more active.
Yeah, and once their bottom turret went down, it actually made Cloud9 free up Sneaky to keep going mid back and forth. And so Smoothie and Sneaky, 2 really big parts of the pick composition for Cloud9, are being freed up but they're the ones who don't have that bottom turret.
Yeah.
Now, it's going to be really important that they're able to keep the pressure up, though. Giving away the first Drake is one of their bigger weaknesses, I feel like, as a team. Throughout the regular split, even though they were the 3rd best team in the LCS, they had the lowest percentage of first Dragons, only getting the first Drake in 30% of their games. Again, here, they don't get it, despite potentially being able to put resources. They don't do that, though.
And this is an Ocean Drake as well. This will help that Gangplank have a little bit of an easier time in that lane. It's been really rough for him, so Seraph needs all the help he can get. Help he can get.
Oh, bullseye!
was wondering when the bing bang boom came in. There it is. I was thinking of boom boom you said last time.
Hey, but it's the 1, 2, 3 this time.
That's true.
It's no longer a 1-2 punch. There's the 3rd one, the uppercut that comes in now that Cloud9 has put together, and it just keeps destroying Ninja. Maybe they can get back on it with this. The Gangplank ultimate allows them to start doing global things, as well as that curtain call allows them to not really retaliate on it either. And so that pushes off C9.
Yeah, and the way EnVy's been able to defend that mid turret shows a giant strength in the synergy between Gangplank and Jhin. Not only does the Gangplank ultimate slow him to allow the curtain call to land, but on top of that, you can also get your W off to get stuns and roots right off of a GP ult. So with almost no one even close to C9, they're threatening kills and burning flashes.
Right now, they might be threatening that top lane. They swap their bottom lane up here. Meteos looking for a possible gank. It would be a 4-on-3 if Jensen got there.
It'd have to be more of a bluff as well. There's no arrow that's up, and if they don't show a 4th person, it seems like EnVy is going to buy that. They don't exactly want to take the fight right now.
Oh, Impact has Frozen Mallet right now, and Seraph has no flash.
He can get that barrel.
This might actually be a kill.
Ooh. Neganar's not going to be there. Could get the speed to go around. Yeah, he's... I make it sound like he could get out. It's intense, but Impact just makes it look so clean.
When a Gnar completes his Frozen Mallet, he becomes a whole new beast. When he already has a 2-level advantage on you, it just gets really painful. That is good job by Impact to hide in the fog of war. Seraph was a little bit greedy, but he does need to be able to pick up that farm.
Yeah, it's 112 to 74 already in that lane. Just a few attacks on it, and twice in the early game, it was Impact that was taking the roughness from Proxen. Flash body slam, flash blown on Impact in the game 1, still able to come back very strong. So he's done a great job at not needing Meteos' help that much to make it happen. He got a little this game, but he also does a lot himself.
Yeah, and he did a lot with you know the matchup that he was given and also the ganks, because Impact, he was one of the lesser camped lanes for Cloud9. They had usually played towards sneaky with most of their resources. Meteos just loved to play towards that lane. And Jensen was their secondary with all of the farms, so Impact was really low economy. But right now, he's kind of able to create his own advantage here since he started the snowball.
It's like, I got my own stock market. And I'm invested.
We'll make our own stock market with blackjack.
Well, good save. I like the death sentence to actually pull just out of range there, but this is going to give that top turret over to EnVy. They still seem to somewhat have map control. Cloud9 isn't really worried about giving too many of these up. They can still attack on that 2nd tier of turrets. But this is where EnVy kind of builds their strategy, starts completing that 2nd tier of items.
Yeah.
Maybe does become dangerous once again.
They want to make sure that they don't just get completely steamrolled, and their mid-game teamfighting is not nearly as strong as it was with the Kennen.
Oh no.
Look at that damage in the turret.
He's trying to hide behind it so he can't be clicked on. Very smart move by Seraph, and it does kind of throw Impact off with the Cannon Barrage.
Got to have that target champions only button in.
Oh, some don't. Oh, scattered right back. Unleashed power has not come out from Jensen, and I don't think he's going to be able to, as Meteos is getting that treatment now from EnVy. He unleashes right back onto Hakuo. Looks to get the death sentence out of the fight. The dark passage to the light saves Jensen as they double kill down onto Lod. He's got to get a little too close on that Jhin with an ult down. And C9 take advantage.
And his bottom lane from Cloud9 are just roaming at really unexpected times here. Sneaky's arrows have been on point. Give him a gold medal right now.
This is the Olympics.
And the CC chain, sorry.
It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, the CC chain coming through from C9 is really awesome. Smoothie's Thresh, even though on Tahm Kench you could Abyssal Voyage into the fights, has been just comboing up with death sentences. The timing on Scatter of the Week has been on point for Jensen the whole series. Although Meteos does get caught, that's a lot of time EnVy puts into trying to get this initiation to happen, and Jensen stacks up a lot of orbs. can see about 7 on the ground there from his ultimate for maximum damage. Bullseye on LoD. Death sentence is just that. And Impact shows off, flexing into the wall with his Gnar ultimate.
Ninja barely gets away with his E. And key thing there as well is Hakuo actually got his Glacial Fissure off, and it knocked up Meteos as he was using his E, so his tunnel went on cooldown. It appeared, and then it was absolutely useless to him. Rek'Sai does not have an escape at that point. Quite easy to pick off, too.
Ooh, another Infernal as well. Our first one here in the quarterfinal series. Got some ocean, some wind, a lot of mountain. Looks like Cloud9's
get some heart in there, too.
Get some heart. First Infernal. Both these teams have heart, that's for damn sure. Try to spill it all out onto the Rift. Right now, Cloud9 realizes they kind of kept their heart bottled up in game 1. They didn't use enough of it. Now 9-3, getting one of the bigger gold leads we've actually seen in the early game here as they're putting their foot down.
And they also have to have a lot of trust in their teamwork and strategy. The fact that they had to play the same side of the map and then made very few draft tweaks to then come out with a better in-game strat and really punish the matchups they were able to get and play off of the Cinder over and over again has gotten them the very early lead. The question will be now, they've had actually a gold lead even bigger than this in the prior match. Can they close out?
Sneaky giving himself a security net if anybody were to come up to him, maybe down.
Oh man, this is brutal for Seraph. Oh! Goomba'd.
He Goomba'd perfect. I was going to say the same thing. If Proxen wants to go in, you just lost your top laner. The guy that you want dealing a lot of damage.
And the hook.
And he's not dealing damage. So why take the fight with the rest of your team? LoD could be the next going down. Meteos doesn't have the damage just yet, as he's building tanky once again, and they're going to be onto that mid lane turret. Cloud9 have turned their tables in game 2 of the quarterfinal series.
Speaking of closing out, that really helps when you can get a bunch of kills. I do have to say Seraph is getting absolutely blasted, and there is a theory of, hey, we can pick Gangplank safely even if there's bad matchups because you're going to be a beast later. Not if this happens. Not if you're at 100 CS, 20 minutes into the game, and getting feasted on by the enemy team. Impact just stomps him into the ground. Ninja was there to help. It was a little bit too late. Proxen tries to jump in, but he just jumps into a stun and the burst combo, and then Smoothie's there while Ninja comes out. It's all falling apart this game for Envy.
And all the top half of the map there is just completely shut down. They shut down Ninja with a lot of their resources and got Jensen really far ahead on the Cinder. He's hit critical mass really early that no matter who he targets at this point, Proxen, Ninja, LoD, anybody, they're going to go down and LoD!
Be safe. Hakuo, oh, he's not going to be up. Thunderlords comes down in the end to take down LoD. A double kill going over to Ninja. Where did this Syndra come from for Jensen? And we see Cloud9 with the rest of the team pushing forward, ready to take more kills. There's not much Envy can do but watch this turret go down or give themselves up with it.
It's the blind pick Syndra 2 games in a row, and this is what he was going for. The arrows kept coming through mid lane, and then this chain stun combo. Jensen is so far ahead, he doesn't even have to use ultimate to kill LoD, to kill the AD carry, and then he just picks up another kill, just pressing R on Ninja.
Wow. That was like a Q, a W, and a Thunderlords proc. Yeah. That's what LoD is worth right now.
He'll be all right. Oh, Masteries, right.
A few button presses. Looks like he's going towards Death Cap as well, which will only make it worse. No Magic resist has been able to be built up really for Envy either. Watch this again.
Yeah, I want to see this explosion.
Another goal.
And you think, okay, Hakuo is here, it's going to be safe. But the Q is doing damage, the W does damage, and then, whoa, then just dies.
Got Zeus.
So quickly.
He dies too.
So fast. So much damage here. 8-1-3 and 70 CS up right now for Jensen. Don't say it often, but man, he's bodying this game.
Yeah. He does Rylai's too instead of a Death Cap. That'll help. That means if he lands a Q, there's really no escape. Plus, it makes him harder to burst out if Ninja's able to get on him.
Everything's just really just coming up roses now for Cloud9. Impact has a gigantic advantage in the top lane. You think back to last game, he was split pushing, getting turrets when he didn't really have that big of an advantage. Yeah. Now, Seraph's just completely out of this game. He's struggling to pick up CS, and now he needs a lot of help.
Well,
either do something with one person, or you do it with the entire team. And Envy says, we might need the entire team to do this. There are 2 in the top lane, though, that could help stop this Baron.
Yeah, this is actually quite risky for C9. Double teleport exists for Envy if they can get a ward that they can teleport on. But C9 is trying to burst this down quickly.
One more shot. Trying to aim for Meteos here, or possibly
Ninja
the Baron. He's looking for the Baron.
Woo! That was close. That was real close.
Smite didn't even go off for Meteos.
Yeah.
A lot of damage. You can tell how much damage Jensen has then, as they kind of calculated to burn it down.
Yeah, that was the 4th shot there from Lod, just waiting to actually blow it up, and then Ninja threw in his E, but Jensen snuck a Q in there.
That was real close. Not what you want when you're up 14
For a second, I thought that was a picture of Lissandra and not Syndra. Impact just coming back up. He'll be headed towards bot lane. He's got some janitorial duty to do. And it looks like actually Jensen is off to the races here. He's not having to deal with any Lockets of Iron Solari just yet. The magic resistance really isn't there for Envy. So they're going to be exploding, as we've seen.
He's been able to snowball so quickly. It's also the Runic Echoes for Proxen. We were wondering what he was going to go with because he started Tracker's Knife, or Hunter's Potion. The Hunter's Potion's gone. Really, they're just hoping to get some type of flank initiation. It has to be onto Jensen. It's difficult because he has cleanse. And C9, if they get one Death Sentence or Arrow lands, or if Jensen lands a Cinder Stun, it could actually be game. Because Baron is up, and they're pushing strong.
And as the game goes on a little bit further, Envy don't have that same type of pressure on the backline with the Gangplank top. Like, Seraph TP flanks are not very effective at this point in time, and they won't become too effective either as the game progresses. So Cloud9, they just have so many ways right now to just continue pressuring this game and grow this advantage.
And Seraph, just within the past few minutes, has actually upgraded that ultimate. He's been so starved for Serpent Coins, and even farm himself to get himself into a good spot. That's Hakuo against the wall. That means Lod doesn't have too much feel, but he's already on the back line. And Cloud9 have chances to engage and disengage. They can't really make a mistake the first time. There may be a mistake range now. They have to be very careful, and they do respect it. Envy may be able to take a fight at this point.
Yeah, with Infernal Drake up, I think it's wise of C9 to pull back. The Gnar ult didn't land. The Ashe ultimate didn't land very strong, and they had to back away because of the Jhin curtain call coming through from Envy. But the second Infernal Drake is a pretty good consolation prize, even if they couldn't crack the base on that last push.
A much more accelerated pace in this game.
Oh, yeah.
And if it's not the Tom Kench that goes out next time, it's got to be the Ashe that starts things off. You look at something else to get out on that ban list, because they ran the same thing, and if it is the support, it's conditionally put to a Bard, and then you just have to stun someone against an object after the arrow hit.
Yeah, Sneaky's Ashe is pretty good. The 2 kills he was able to pick up in the mid lane of all places has helped him.
Oh, so many assists, too, off the back of his arrows. He's doing just such a fantastic job facilitating Jensen start carrying this game. And now Hakuo is put in a really awkward position where he's up against a very fed Syndra. Like, well, you got to get Aegis first, but he eventually wants that Mikhail's, but it's so delayed at this point that these arrows are going to hit true for a very long time.
Proxen.
Oh, Scat of the Week just in range. Something that many players may not be familiar with. The amount of playtime Syndra gets against them in either ranked queue or in competitive play, and they're onto the inhibitor turrets now. Impact Smoothie on the front line, ready to shut someone down. Meteos making sure the back still has peel as they start methodically taking down inhibitors and inhibitor turrets inside Envy.
Yeah, Cloud9 trying to run it back as well with what you've been saying, Jat. They only changed up the Ashe, that's it. They said it was, just a little unlucky for them. Trying to run it back, and this is more kind of Cloud9 style now. They say it's not that, it's not the composition, and now they're taking care of business.
Yes, they've even still gone with double Ruby Sightstone. They're just better at getting the picks this game. The Thresh also aids that. The chain CC from Smoothie has been pretty key in making sure they can secure all these kills easily.
Gives them a little bit more confidence, too, to go forward and know that that Lantern will be there to save them.
Be nice if Seraph was the one getting the most of this CS, but they have been sharing farm for quite some time as they've been forced to group together. Cloud9 forces that once again in the top lane. 2 Infernal Drakes, an arrow onto Ninja. Double Gnar ultimate from Impact. And you can almost hear the communication from Cloud9 from call to call and their priority targets.
Jensen?
Oh, beautiful stun from the ult.
Almost no follow-up. A lot was wasted in the last one. They may have said, hold on, we can still get the inhibitor. Let's not go too hard. Yeah. Also waiting for a minion wave.
Yeah, exactly. They have super minions also pushing down the mid side. And they've already picked off 2 members. They're going to get this top turret. There's no way for them to really defend it effectively. And you always have to stay out of the Syndra stun range.
Easier said than done for sure.
The turret, or rather barrels not taking down all the minions, gives Cloud9 just enough time to toy with that turret. 17-4, what a stark difference from game one here as Cloud9 pretty much hit the gas. Pedal to the metal all game long.
It's a last-ditch effort. Ninja's trying to teleport him from behind.
That's the hit. You heard the yo moves. Ninja gets slowed down. The vision is there, and he takes a volley. He gets the claw in and throws down Glacial Tomb on himself. Cloud9 is trying to separate themselves from the fight as Ninja gives himself time to assess it, and Zanya's and Meteos is now the focus. Dark passage to the light, and will curtain call close the fight for Envy. The damage to follow up is there from Seraph, but is there more for the Fade's chase? Jensen is there, the volley is in, Proxen is looking for that angled cutoff. A straight line is the fastest way to that objective, and they try to take it. Jensen's forced to turn around knowing that fight may come. And Envy peels off finally, but again, we get a repeat of what happened in game one, or series one.
Yeah, defending
Good Lord.
From deep within their base, Envy does keep themselves alive, so to speak. It's going to be real tough, though. 12,000 gold down, 2 inhibitors. But the fact that the shutdowns did go over to Seraph gives them the smallest of chances.
See it one more time.
It definitely helps the whole team out with that global gold, and he gets those kills. And then Ninja, this is great. He knows the stun and the knockback isn't there for Jensen. He does get exhausted, so it would have been even more brutal without that coming through. So Smoothie has been on top of those. But then Seraph pulls down some barrels. They actually don't do as much damage as you would think. And then they get the chase.
And finally, they're able to use the Gangplank and Jinalt combo proactively.
Yeah.
Instead of just in trying to defend a turret to push people off. You can see how effective it is. Deadman's Plate, not to mention the angle from the shortcut. Nice for Proxen. Sneaky did manage to flash away. Jensen had already used his, which means he gets a second death of the game.
See how much this slows down Cloud9 if they really are kind of scared of what just happened. They should keep pressuring as much as possible because there is a significant lead of 11,000 gold still in their favor.
Exactly, and as the game goes on, right, 6 items and all that, but
exactly.
It's still a long ways away. People are hitting 4.5 right now.
Yep.
And now there's so much for Envy to farm. They have 2 waves that are going to push into them over and over again, and the Baron is on the table. Cloud9 are going to try to play around this area look for a pick, but it's a little bit harder to set up right now.
Yeah.
Ward destruction crew right now. Those guys are hungry for just wards. They're basically not even looking for a fight. They're just making sure Cloud9 cannot get an upper hand in vision.
Yeah, keep in mind though, still no Mikhail's completed by Hakuho. So if an Ash Arrow lands, it probably leads to a kill. It doesn't appear, maybe with the Spectre's Cow, Proxen might be able to survive getting hit, but basically anyone who gets hit by an Ash Arrow, if C9 is close, will die.
Haku actually completely rushing that Ruby and the Locket. You can see his Targon's really not even brought up the face of the mountain. See how they continue this one.
Yeah, that's kind of been the go-to for a lot of supports. You go straight for the Ruby Sightstone for those 4 wards, and then you leave it on that. Smoothie just now will be getting towards the face of the mountain.
Right.
If you want the activatable time down, you want your Locket, and then you want to complete it.
Last outer turret here. I should say inner turret, but outside their nexus, really. The hook onto Proxen. That's just a bit of damage traded in. Wait out the Gnar bar. Hakuho, no reason to get too close, but he does take a bit of damage. He's going to be a focus, and he's going to go down. It only took a few more seconds for Impact's bar to go away, and this could have been the returning result. But they trade 1 for 1 in the end, and Cloud9's forced to use ultimates to get back as well.
An inhibitor did respawn, though, and as long as Envy can get back to defend those super minions, they might be able to hold. This is a very slim margin, though. Ninja might lose this turret, and he's no longer there for the fight at the bottom side.
Oh, it's so close.
The caster minions are working their butts off now. Turret goes down, so that means they are not going to be able to fight now under this inhibitor, or I should say next to. And Cloud9 is playing this one slow. A few punches from that super, and the first Nexus turret is down.
Yeah, but this will be actually a numbers advantage here for Envy if Cloud9 stick around any longer, so they have to book it. And it looks like Mountain Drake might be where they're headed.
Yeah, the longer this game goes, though, the scarier it becomes for C9, because I think mentally, if they were unable to close out this game after having leads in games 1 and 2, it could be devastating for them in the greater context of the series. Like, what do they actually have to do to take down Envy, if not getting 12 kills on their mid laner before 30 minutes into the game? They're still in a good position, though. They just have to execute and get some picks.
And Envy have always been one of the teams that play the longest games, right? They were always like 10th or 9th in terms of average game time. And then when I looked at it, it was both their victories take a long time, and their losses take a long time. Regardless of who they're facing, they can always stall it out to about 35, 40 minutes. And it's just insane how they're able to hold on for so long and stop the enemy from closing these games out.
We've seen this before, but how strong is he now?
It's
Run
been a while.
faster, Sarah.
Ooh, just a bit of the slow. If we had another Hopper wanted to blow his flash, I'm sure he probably could have come out on top once again.
It all changes when the Youmuu's Ghost Blade comes through.
Yeah, so 3 exposed inhibitors, but no downed inhibitors. So no super minions to push through. A Baron is also up for C9. I think mostly they need to control the vision in this area and kill Envy outside of their base, where they can't fall back to their Nexus turret.
Things are looking brighter. There's still a slight shroud over Envy right now. They have to work their way to the light.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be off an engage. They have to deny an arrow that Sneaky hits that somehow turned around. It's going to be hard to catch Cloud9 in a fight where they don't feel like they have the upper hand, because they have a 11,000 gold lead still, and they're going to fight like they are about to win the game. So Envy needs to have a very good strategy here.
They have 3 blue trinkets, which is their only hope of not face checking into what is certain death. 2 of them are on cooldown. Sarah technically would still have his.
Yeah, it doesn't have
all
to
a waiting game for Envy.
Oh, he actually did use it. He didn't have to use it there because he saw the Prey Seeker come through, so New Meteos wasn't on the Baron. But I mean, we will pull them away, so Cloud9 trying to set up picks. And you see Envy are just really paranoid right now. Procs him with the flash when nothing was really flying at him. Just really just being on edge, making sure that they don't take that step that loses them this game. And there's the Baron, just being teased a little bit.
Yeah, it's roughly a 2-minute cooldown on the blue trinkets. So that's their spacing, but Hakuo gets hit.
We saw this in game 1. Hakuo is sometimes an initiation. He gets deleted immediately by the return fire coming in from Jensen. Impacts in a bad spot.
Jensen is
Dustbringer's already gone off. They can slow over Jensen on this side as well. Seraph's healing back as well to help onto Lod, and everybody kind of slows down this fight. The ultimates that we have are either disengaging or engaging completely here.
Yeah, basically C9 was able to get the pick on a Hakuo, but there was a bunch of junk in between them and the rest of the team. So Impact and Meteos got stuck in the fight, where Sneaky and Jensen couldn't come around the side for damage, and they really only get the 1 kill. They're coming back for more, though.
There's the Void Rush. It's going to be a teleport as well. They can easily get themselves back into this fight, and they're all 5 back in the party here. Envy still has a bit to wait on Hakuo, but these ults are down, and that's what they've been using to stop the takedown of their inhibitors.
Yeah, but Cloud9, they have their ultimates.
Yeah,
Couple of them up. The arrows back up.
It's going to be very dangerous.
Also have Jensen's ultimate. Looking for another pick.
Cloud9 looking to drive it home here with a possible good fight. Hakuo steps back to Lod for some resistances and defense. Seraph very low. These guys have home guards. They can still step back and get to the fight quickly, but are choosing to continue to clear the waves and continue to let Cloud9, as they're pushing ahead, as they are using their confidence to take these inhibitors.
And Cloud9, because they have those 2 inhibitors down, might start the Baron right now. And that puts Seraph on wave clear duty.
Yeah, he does have teleport. There's another blue trinket out. Still got about 15 seconds. They have no great way of checking. It would have to be a GP ultimate.
Oh, he used the body slam, so nope.
Yep.
Yeah, they just didn't have the trinket cooldown timers. There were 2 minutes per cooldown. Doesn't work well. Seraph was on wave clear duty, so the teleport was even going to be too slow, especially with the Mountain Drake and the Double Infernal. That's just a lot of stuff to burn down Baron. Well done by C9.
Yeah, also didn't have his blue trinket available too far away to actually use it in the Baron pit. And so it was actually a really good call. They were able to pick it up, and they had 2 Infernals in a mountain, so they definitely shred it, like you said.
Maybe one more around the horn. Mid wave's pushing. Actually, bottom wave isn't really in a spot for them to take it. They may be able to prep a fight here before getting that wave up. Making sure mid walks itself in. They only have 1 more Nexus turret to go through, remember, as one was taken down by the Winions. And here, setting up a bit of a security fence. Looks like they are just going to go for this inhibitor slowly while that minion wave catches up.
This could very well be the final push for C9, and I also think they need it to be. Jensen's hit max items.
That's a good point.
Cycled the inhibitors once already. There's only 1 inhibitor and 1 turret left for all of Envy. C9 needs to wait for the super minions to crash, then pushes 5 people with super minis.
Seraph's starting to stack up on that armor pen, like we said. Bang Plank would get bigger.
There
Level 16, third level, the ultimate. Ninja Zanya's out the unleashed power, but also gets the shield from Hakuo, which leaves him in the front to just be picked off. That's something C9 has been working on the whole time. Then they get the priority target in Seraph. The DPS is falling like flies for EnVy as Cloud9 bite back after game 1. They take down the Nexus and will be going to game 3 at 1-1.
And we have ourselves a series. Guess what? Now they play best of 3. Back to the regular season for these guys, but 14 kills for Jensen, enabled by the rest of his team though. So while he did have some very nice scatter the weeks, the majority of those kills were set up by either Ash Arrows or Death Sentences or Meteos or someone else giving him the kill on a silver platter.
That's my favorite. Just a Death Sentence, a Meteos. Like,
yeah,
sometimes his Meteos is the reason you get it.
But doing a thing.
I definitely think that next time, if Ninja is up against the Ashe, he's got to take Cleanse. This is something that actually enabled Jensen to get just such a large lead with Sneaky visiting that lane over and over again with arrows.
It's absolutely crazy. This game as well is the stark difference from first to last. I think EnVy's kind of thinking, holy crap, what happened from game 1 to game 2?
And it also gives you some confidence too if you win with really a similar composition to the previous game, where you can go, okay, it was just us messing up a little bit, and now it brings you some confidence.
And then for EnVy, a lot of this was probably because they were behind in gold, but they're against a pick composition with Ashe and Syndra, and no one has Cleanse, there's no Mikhails, and there's no QSS.
Yeah.
You have to be able to un-CC yourself against the picks.
CC, the greatest thing, death is the greatest CC, I should say, and that's what was happening to EnVy that game. So now to recap that game, let's send it over to the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, gents. 1-1 now. Cloud9 with the equalizer here in game 2. So we're going to be moving into essentially now a best of 3, but let's identify how exactly they were able to get the victory here in game 2, starting in Champ Select. A couple adaptations. Each team opted to switch out one ban. So for Cloud9, dropping the GP ban in favor of a Sivir ban, and on the side of EnVy, dropping the Cassiopeia ban for Tahm Kench.
Well, I think a critical factor here is that EnVy failed to realize what allowed them to survive the previous game, which one was Cloud9 not executing their comp properly, but two, the fact that you have these losing lanes into Syndra, and you have champions that have an easy time dealing with the Syndra. You have the Zanyas and the Kennen, you have Sivir, which is a really difficult champion to actually go on as Syndra, and then the Braum as well, being able to do a whole lot.
And a big part of it, too, is also the early game, the fact that they had a pressured top laner that Seraph was able to generate a lead on. It wasn't a huge lead, but the fact that he wasn't getting destroyed, which is kind of what happened in this game, it just gave them something to do early game where Proxy visited the top and mid a number of times. Here, GP just got ran over, and Proxy didn't have anywhere to go, really, because mid lane's losing, top lane's losing, and now your bot lane, it's just kind of hard to make a move onto the Thresh, pretty safe. They still managed to do it once, but it's just not as easy to do.
Game 2, the losing matchup of Lissandra into Syndra wasn't able to be helped like it was from the visitation of the Kennen in game 1. With a losing GP as well, now we've got both of our solo lanes kept under their turret for a significant portion of the early game.
And this is reminiscent of the time where Syndra was a meta pick of all time, because it's so difficult to actually gank because she can just always trade 1-for-1, and it's never worth it. Or she's just so strong with the wave clear, safety with the cleanse. Now you have Thresh on top of it, and you have 4-man ganks onto the mid lane nonstop. And the fact that it's double AP with an early Negatron, it's like, how do you even get to her?
A big part, too, is the fact that Meteos just played better this game. Last game, he didn't gank anywhere, really, and got out farmed by like 15-20. This time, we saw an early gank mid, and he actually got first blood. He was able to roam top and help dive once or twice to help kind of blow the game open, as well as Jensen finally getting out of lane now. So there were a number of things that were very different from last game, even though the comps were actually looked mostly similar.
Right, I love that distinction there too. The help to the mid lane, also then unlocking Jensen to go affect other lanes. Of course, Impact was already winning his lane alone here against the GP, so that's helpful as well. But definitely nice to see Meteos step up his pressure game to match a little bit more what Proxon's was, and then snowball that pressure into another lane.
And I really like the kind of channeling of Bunny Fufu with the Thresh pick, being able to provide just so many picks, so much disengage, because Thresh in particular just blocks so much of what Gragas can do. Anytime you have Body Slam, block him out, ultimate, reel him in, and just having so many of the flash hook plays from Smoothie was really refreshing to see them take such a proactive approach as opposed to the long cooldown of the Tahm Kench ultimate.
Let's take a look at a couple of the fights then that took place. First up, 17 minutes into the game, 2-for-1 for Cloud9. You talk about the Thresh play. Here we'll see it come into force again, but you know, Jensen and the burst potential from the Syndra to start things off.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of Crumb's talking about how annoying it is to come at the Syndra. She actually trades 1-for-1 just fine in there. We see once again the Thresh pulling Jensen to safety, and they're able to turn this back for a 2-for-1. And most importantly, they get the mid turret, which really opens up. And when you're against a pick comp and that mid turret goes down, the map's totally open. They just push in, they roam around. They have so much access to blowing you up now. And we saw from there, that's when Jensen kind of took over.
And you just don't have a footing back in the game with this comp.
Right, exactly. And Cloud9 now on your screens here discussing plans for Game 3. I want to continue hammering this point here. With a fed Syndra, we saw kind of a falter in itemization on the side of EnVy, right? I mean, you talk about how a Syndra alone is scary just in maybe a two-for-one situation because of her burst potential. But now she's the most fed member on the map, and you're not itemizing to deal with that burst threat.
Well, I think once that happens, I think they really realize that they don't have a way back in. Gangplank's getting bullied around, and the one thing that, while the itemization might have helped them die slower, I mean, what did Hakuho do to Cloud9?
Yeah, I don't know what it is to
this poor guy.
Jensen just ults him every time. You saw Meteos once just go flying.
Late game trading 1-for-1 with Gnar with the support. You double it. Like, right. I don't know what's going on.
He made somebody angry,
here, but somebody hates him.
He made fun of Jack or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But so as you mentioned, it already was such a large deficit for EnVy to try and strike back from. Their best opportunity was that of a Cloud9 overstay. Now, we did see that one time in the top lane. It's going to be a 3-for-1 in favor of EnVy, 27 minutes in the game. Not enough to swing it overall, but we did see kind of a glimmer of what this team composition from EnVy can do if they're set up and flanked properly.
Awesome. A nice little arrow comboed into the Gnar ultimate with the stun, and then you have Meteos going in a little bit too ham in here, but they're going to be able to actually translate this into the tier 2 turret, and they push so far with the fact that they have such a large numbers advantage. Even though their ultimates are down, it's so easy to push in. What is Jin going to do into the Syndra?
Right. So this is, let me clarify. So this was the initial fight brawl from C9. They get an advantage, but now they're opting to stay in the face of, respawn timers that are about to come up.
And I think you're going to see what EnVy's comp can do if they're ever equal. So, right. I mean, the fact that they're overstaying kind of sets it up, but if they were ever equal, it's very obvious. The Lissandra goes in for a flank, and then you have very easy follow-up from both GP and Jin, who can just kind of throw their ults in on top.
And this is a nice, nasty little flank run Ninja. He's going to flash out of that hook. That is awesome. Watching him do that. Unfortunately for him, that exhaust from Smoothie really blocked a lot of the damage, and they're going to be able to continue chasing here when the Gangplank ult comes back up with the Laud ultimate from Jin. But it's not going to be able to net many kills here. They're only going to be able to pick up the Thresh, and Jensen's going to get away with the skin of his teeth.
Oh, Jensen ends up getting...
Jensen does die, but he trades back onto the GP here.
Yeah.
Because look at that mana. Look at that mana.
No Q's down.
I'm out. Look, no balls,
down.
and immediately it's like, oh.
I'll just kill you.
Thanks. Thanks for that.
Syndra, man. I mean, the second game of Syndra for Jensen, solid play in both games, even more dominant here in Game 2. This is definitely a pick that EnVy's going to have to look at in Game 3 as, a ban away.
Ninja's champ pool, as far as I'm aware, does not deal with this champion well. The fact that Karma's out, which I think would be one that would be okay into it, Vladimir potentially another one.
Right. We talked about the possibility of a Zilean if you build a comp around it, just because Zilean could go Roa first, but it's not ideal, so...
Yeah, I don't think Ninja's going to play that. I don't think you're going to play, like, Varus into it, really, especially when the other team's clearly prioritizing pick.
No.
That's just kind of... Varus gets destroyed by any kind of Ashe arrow or anything like that. You have to take cleanse, and it's rough.
They didn't take cleanse, they didn't take QSSs, they didn't take Mikhails, as Jat mentioned here in this game, but then again, the deficit just almost too great, it wouldn't have mattered. At that point, you're chasing them down in itemization, trying to figure out where to put your very few resources.
But I think the priority of the Gangplank, because it was banning first game, I think maybe EnVy thought it was very important. They pick it in their first rotation, gets bodied by the Gnar, and just Syndra in general is such a powerful pick that before the only really counter picks were due to itemization, a lot of ganks, pressure, and maybe Orianna, which is a non-meta pick right now.
So now, interestingly, C9 has opted for blue side one more time. So, of course, having traded wins on the same side, they're choosing, after their performance in Game 2, they're saying we are confident, we are comfortable being first pick, not getting necessarily the counter pick, but running it back at EnVy.
I think one thing is that GP pick you touched on. You see GP versus Gnar as a common pick kind of matchup, and usually it's just as long as GP's farming is fine, and Seraph really fell behind this game. Not just like I died a couple times, which is usually actually okay, but when you're down 60 CS and you're not hitting your item power spikes, that's when you fall behind.
Well, you need wave clear picks to make Gangplank work, and when you have the likes of Lissandra and Jhin, which are not safe wave clear at all, they go middle, they're going to get hooked or arrow dead. Okay, you lost turrets, and now Gangplank has nowhere to farm or stall out, where he could easily just sit a turret, wait for Gnar to push up, and maybe get some farm that way. You just don't have any way to slow down the game.
Yeah, we saw the success of strong lanes for Envy in game 1. They opt for a little bit more of a scaling late game composition here with less strong lanes. They get punished for it. Now, Cloud9 has managed to tie up this series with Team Envy, so stick around for game 3 to see who pulls ahead. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.